What is up, everybody? Everyday Angler here again. Another fly tying video. Today we're going to be tying up a fly, black shirt. Oh, you can see that. This is really a super simple fly. If you can tie a woolly bugger, you should be able to tie this just fine. What this is it's like a tried and true platform just for a lot of streamers out there. I know Sex Dungeons, Peanut Envy, stuff like this, that we know woolly buggers work, so then we articulated them. And this is just my version that I like to fish. We're gonna tie it in an olive color scheme using mostly natural materials except for the craft fur. And we're actually gonna put a craft fur head on this fly. And let's just get to tying it. This is a Gamakatsu size 4 in my vise. I'm gonna be using mono thread. Let me start my thread. So just like we're tying a woolly bugger, I'm gonna start off with a marabou tail. I like to tie mine a little longer, and this is MFC's. This is probably my favorite marabou, honestly. Buggerbou mini barred, 2-inch. It's a little over 2 inches, but this pack of marabou is like super consistent, the Grizzly and the length. So I just like getting this instead of picking through materials. Most of all these feathers are good. Of course, it's a little more expensive than just the blood quill marabou, but anyways, gonna start off with a marabou tail. I like to tie mine a little bit longer. And this is, I am tying like the bass version of this fly, so we're gonna throw silly legs on every shank. It's just gonna be a little louder than most versions of it. Wrap that marabou all the way up the hook shank. I'm just gonna throw this right on top. Okay. Next, we're gonna pick a feather out of this hen saddle, and this is olive grizzly too. And what I'm looking for, this is like a patch that you tie game changers with. What I'm looking for is just something back here that's super webby, almost like a sloppin feather. Sloppin. That's how you say it. Oh, I just accidentally pulled the patch out, but this is the feather I was looking for. I guess the real difference is like you can measure your hackle, but for a bass fly, I mean, if anything, I want this way over exaggerated. So I'm gonna try to figure eight this on here. For those of you that don't know, I learned that.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
What? That was my wife. For those of you that don't know, if you like figure eight your feather on there like you do dumbbell eyes, you don't have, I mean, it just lays perfectly when you're palmering it. So I learned that from watching Gallup's hour video on tying woolly buggers. Okay, where is my chenille? Next, I'm gonna come in with medium Cactus chenille and light olive, or medium olive, sorry. And I haven't figured out how to set the aperture on my camera, so it keeps going dark, light. I'll fix that. You know, these are just, I'm still beta stage right now. Okay, I just stripped my chenille tying that in. I'm actually going to stop it a little before. Oh my gosh. I'm actually going to stop it a little ahead of my hook eye, because we're going to tie silly legs in. Okay. Gonna wrap that. Two like right there. I'm gonna grab my hackle pliers now. And we're gonna wrap this. See how buggy that is? That's what I want. Last little wrap of that marabou type fiber up front. And this is why I like using mono. So with my mono, instead of like trying to feed some wire through all this, I'm literally just gonna feed my mono back down, kind of moving my bobbin side to side so I don't trap anything. And then I'm gonna run it back up. And because it's clear, it really doesn't make a difference. And now that the spine of that hackle is super reinforced with mono, next we're going to grab some silly legs. Now I like buying bass skirts because you just don't get colors like that out of silly leg packets. I'm going to grab 2 of them. Just do the old half and half around my thread. Lay them down right on top of the hook shank. Do a few wraps right in front of it. And then grab my silly legs and spread them out to either side. Just like that. Next what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab another one of these feathers. But all I'm going to do this time is kind of give this thing like a pretty bulky collar of hen saddle. So I'm actually going to prep this feather the right way. And these things help a lot. These little hair clips. Even if they're not grabbing onto anything. Just hold those freaking silly legs out of my way. I'm going to give this a few wraps. Okay. And I like to grab my silly legs and cut them maybe about halfway down my tail. Just like that. I like these silly legs a lot. They're like orange, olive, and brown. Alright, now I'm going to grab my super glue thin. You want to be careful with this stuff because this stuff, I mean, it is thin. Like if you accidentally squeeze it too hard, cleaning everything up, and a half hitch. So this is the back part of our feather, or of our fly. I'm gonna come in with a size 2 Gamakatsu B10S now. Alright, so here's my size 2 hook. Start my thread. Get some of my bead on. Gonna get it where I want it. I'm gonna pull on it. So when I pull on it, it gives it that kink. You see that kink in my wire? And that's just like to double make sure this thing stays in place. And I learned that from watching Kelly Gallup videos too. So I'm gonna build the fly up, it's kind of self-explanatory. Marabou, Cactus Chenille, wrapped with this Grizzly hackle, and then I'm gonna come back to y'all on the head of the fly. Oh, before I forget, I did want to talk to you about the weight. This is a fly that I like to fish on floating line, like in pocket water and riffles, where I feel like sinking line is really good, especially because I like fishing weightless and deer hair flies. But when you're fishing like current breaks and pockets and stuff, where one current is going this speed and the other one is coming around this way, your sinking line kind of ends up like in a snake, and you can never properly like track your fly. And it just bothers me. I mean, I'm sure you can catch fish that way, but it bothers me. So that's when I choose to fish floating line, and that's when I choose weighted flies. And these large bead chain eyes, I'm honestly not sure if these are large or extra large, but I do get them pretty big, because what I found is literally the only reason is that they just last longer than the lead eyes. The lead eyes, you hit a rock or something and they just, sometimes they don't, but most of them just get obliterated. Then you got to fly with like, kind of defeated the whole purpose or the reason that you tied that fly. So I'm going to come in with these large bead chain eyes. So yeah, this is just a super buggy. It's like a huge, like I said, woolly bugger, ugly bugger. Articulated ugly bugger. That's what I like. My old subscribers know about the ugly bugger. Alright, I'm gonna half hitch right here because I'm about to switch to some 6/0 Vivas. Where is my 6/0 Vivus? There it is. Hit all that with some super glue one last time. Coming in with the 6/0 Vivus in black. Okay, so we're actually going to give this fly a wing using olive craft fur. And this I saw, Gallup talks a lot about his woolhead flies, and then I saw Gallup tie one with craft fur instead, and that's where I got this idea. So this is our craft fur, and you know how to clean craft fur up. The only difference is we're going to keep all this junk. So just set that aside. It doesn't have to be too long, but there, that's good. And you're gonna keep what you cut off too. See, that's what I cut off. I'm actually gonna cut that in half now. Because what we're gonna do is put this in a dubbing loop. All right. Now you can barely see my eye on this side. We'll fix that up. And the easiest way to finish a fly like this, I don't want to get any glue on my head or anything, is I'll take my thread and get my super glue and just run a little line of super glue onto my thread. Doesn't have to be much. I'll maybe do 2 wraps with it and half hitch it. Gonna hold my collar down. That's my oven. Give me a second. Sorry, I must have not been recording, but I've started trimming the fly. And I'll come in really close to these eyes because I know the whole time I was saying I'm not picky, but I do want you to be able to see my eyes on there. And that is good enough for me. That's killer. You can see that. That's just super buggy. Nice little craft fur head on it. It's just, I mean, it's a sex dungeon type fly. Maybe a strung fuzzy fiber head type fly, except with craft fur. I mean, you know it's gonna catch fish. It's just one of those flies where, like, if I'm not sure about something, this is what I tie on. Articulated ugly bugger. I came up with that name right now. Hundreds, well, more, it's like everybody ties a fly like this. You probably do. Whatever you call it. It's just 2 woolly buggers, and then you choose what head. I could put a deer hair head weightless on this, or tie a deer hair head around dumbbell eyes and it'd be a sex dungeon, but This is the ugly bugger. So thank you for watching, everybody, and hope you've been enjoying these fly tying videos. Let me zoom out, I'm crazy. But anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. Go tie some of these up. Really quick and easy. You can do a cone head finish or whatever you want, and just super buggy. Floating line, everybody has a floating line. You could probably throw this on a 5, 6, 7. Tie it a little smaller if you're throwing it on a 5 maybe, but you get the point. Thank you for watching, everybody, and I'll catch you guys next time on another episode of The Everyday Angler.